The industry was already buzzing with whispers, but nothing could have prepared fans for what came next. Mendeecees, the man once seen as the picture of loyalty and love on and off camera, just flipped the entire narrative upside down. What started as a few suspicious posts and deleted pictures turned into a full-blown cheating scandal that's shaken everyone who's followed his story for years. For so long, he and Yandi were considered the unbreakable couple, the definition of ride-or-die love in the world of fame, family, and temptation. But when private messages started leaking and fans began noticing his sudden distance, things began to crumble fast. Now, the internet can't stop talking about the shocking twist. Reports claim Mendeecees has secretly married a woman named Angie right after the cheating scandal exploded. The betrayal hit fans like a thunderbolt. People are digging through timelines, photos, and cryptic captions, trying to piece together when and how things fell apart. Yandy's silence on social media has only made things more tense. It's like she's holding back a storm, while Mendeecees seems completely unbothered, moving on with someone new in private. And Angie. She's suddenly everywhere, tagged in posts, smiling in pictures, wearing what fans swear looks like a wedding ring. Nobody saw it coming. After everything Mendeecees and Yandi went through, the trials, the prison time, the public ups and downs, this new chapter feels like betrayal on the highest level. The question now is, was this love story ever real, or was it all just another performance for the cameras? Because the receipts that are starting to surface might just destroy what's left of Mendeecees' reputation for good. It all started when fans began to notice the tension building quietly between Mendeecees and Yandi for years. They had built an image of being one of the strongest couples in the industry, the kind of love that could survive distance, prison time, and public scrutiny. But behind that picture-perfect image, something had started to shift. It began with subtle signs. Mendeecees stopped appearing in Yandi's videos. Their once frequent couple photos started disappearing. And Yandi's captions changed from "we" to "me." To most fans, it seemed like normal relationship strain. But those paying closer attention could sense that something deeper was brewing then. Out of nowhere, a series of private messages leaked online. Screenshots showed Mendeecees allegedly exchanging late-night texts with a woman named Angie, someone the public had barely heard of. The messages weren't just flirtatious. They were intimate, personal, and emotional. Fans couldn't believe it. This was the same man who had publicly praised Yandi for holding him down during his lowest moments. The backlash was instant. Social media exploded with debates, accusations, and theories. Some people defended him, saying the screenshots could be fake, while others insisted the tone, the timing, and the evidence all pointed to something real. Yandi, meanwhile, stayed completely silent. Her fans flooded her comments, begging her to speak, to deny, to confirm, but she posted nothing. No statements, no reactions, no shade. Just silence. And that silence spoke louder than words. For the first time, it felt like Yandi didn't want to fight for the image anymore. People who had watched their love story unfold on screen for years were now watching it unravel in real time. But what made things worse was the discovery that Angie wasn't just a random woman. She had allegedly been around for months, quietly appearing in photos near Mendeecees at private events. One video even showed the two laughing together at a restaurant. Nothing too intimate, but enough to raise eyebrows once the scandal hit. Fans began connecting dots, realizing that this relationship might not have been new at all. It was like the truth had been hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone to notice. Then came the biggest shock of all. Reports surfaced that Mendeecees had secretly married Angie. The internet went into overdrive. How could he move on so fast? Some insiders claimed the wedding had already happened weeks earlier, before the messages even leaked. Others said it was a quiet ceremony out of state, attended by only a few close friends who were sworn to secrecy. The alleged marriage certificate circulating online only fueled the speculation further. People started pulling receipts from old interviews where Mendeecees spoke about loyalty and honesty, using his own words against him. If you love someone, you don't hurt them, He once said, a quote that fans began reposting under every story about the scandal. The irony stung. Yandi had built her entire image as a devoted partner, someone who stood by her man through the storm. To see that loyalty repaid with betrayal felt cruel. Meanwhile, Angie seemed unfazed. New photos began surfacing of her wearing a thin diamond band on her ring finger, smiling confidently as if she knew exactly what she was doing. Her social media following exploded overnight from a few hundred to tens of thousands. As people flooded her pages looking for answers, but instead of hiding, she started posting subtle captions like, "Real love doesn't need validation and peace feels good." Each post felt like a dig at Yandi, like she was claiming victory in a war no one knew she was fighting. Behind the scenes, people close to Yandi claimed she was devastated. Sources said she had found out about the marriage the same way everyone else did, through social media. The pain wasn't just about the cheating, it was about the humiliation. She had fought for Mendeecees, defended him, and stood by him when the world judged their love. And now, after everything, he had chosen someone else in silence. The story began to snowball. Blogs picked it up, podcasts debated it, and fans started turning on Mendeecees. The once beloved man who represented loyalty and family had become the face of betrayal. His image, carefully crafted over years, was crumbling overnight. But what no one expected was that Mendeecees wasn't denying it. He wasn't hiding. He wasn't explaining. He was simply living his life as if nothing had happened. When cameras caught him and Angie walking together days later, hand in hand, it was the confirmation everyone had been waiting for. It wasn't a rumor anymore. It was real. And as the flash of the cameras lit up their faces, it became clear that Mendeecees had made his choice, one that would forever change the way fans saw him, Yandi. And the love story they thought they knew. The fallout from Mendeecees and Angie's alleged marriage was unlike anything the hip-hop community had seen in a long time. It wasn't just gossip. It was heartbreak televised, betrayal dissected by millions. And the public collapse of a love story that had once inspired people. Yandi, who had stood strong for years as the backbone of their family, was suddenly forced to face a new reality. The man she had fought for was no longer hers in the beginning. She tried to stay silent. She focused on her work, her kids, her projects, anything to keep from feeding the narrative. But the internet doesn't let silence rest. Every move she made, every post she uploaded, every quote she shared was analyzed. When she uploaded a black and white selfie with the caption, "Lessons, not losses," fans immediately flooded the comments, convinced it was about Mendeecees. Her quietness became her strength, but also her shield. Deep down, people could tell she was hurting. Then things took a darker turn. Angie started to speak out subtly, but intentionally. In one interview clip that leaked online, she said, "Sometimes people find love in Soon after, Yandi unfollowed him on every platform." That was her statement to the world. She didn't need words. She didn't need to explain. Her silence, once seen as restraint, now became power. Fans rallied behind her with overwhelming support, flooding her page with love and encouragement. #StandWithYandi began trending as people from across the country expressed outrage over how Mendeecees had treated her, but Angie wasn't backing down either. In one bold move, she posted a photo of her and Mendeecees holding hands, captioned, "Peace after pain." The internet erupted. It was the final confirmation fans needed, proof that Mendeecees had moved on fully, unapologetically and publicly. Every blog, podcast, and gossip page dissected the post, analyzing the symbolism in every detail from the matching bracelets to the location in the background. Rumored to be the same spot where Mendeecees once took Yandi for her birthday years ago. That image didn't just go viral. It shattered what little hope fans had that the couple might reconcile. For many, it wasn't just the betrayal that hurt, but the way it was flaunted. To watch Mendeecees smile beside another woman after years of claiming loyalty to Yandi felt cruel. And yet, as painful as it was, Yandi's grace during the chaos earned her even more admiration. She didn't respond with bitterness. Instead, she channeled everything into her work and her children. Her posts turned motivational, her tone shifted from heartbreak to healing. In one video, she said softly, "Sometimes you have to lose what you love to remember who you are." That line went viral for all the right reasons. People began to see her not as a victim, but as a survivor of emotional betrayal. Still behind that calm exterior, Yandi was human, and heartbreak doesn't heal in silence. Those closest to her revealed she was deeply hurt by how public everything had become. Friends said she couldn't understand how the man she had sacrificed so much for could turn around and build a new life so quickly. Every time she opened her phone, there was another headline, another clip, another reminder. For Mendeecees, though, life seemed to move forward without hesitation. He began doing interviews again, smiling, laughing, talking about growth. But fans noticed something strange. Whenever someone mentioned Yandi, his tone changed. It wasn't anger, it was discomfort. Like he knew that no matter how happy he tried to appear, the world hadn't forgotten. He was now the man who publicly betrayed the woman who had never left his side. And as for Angie, she was getting used to the spotlight. Her followers grew every day, her name now tied forever to the scandal. She started partnering with small brands, posting lifestyle content, and embracing her newfound fame. But deep down, many wondered, could a relationship built on betrayal ever last? Because while Mendeecees seemed at peace, the storm he created was far from over. The cracks were showing, and the same cameras that once captured Yandi's tears were now waiting to see how long this new love would really survive. As the days passed, Yandi's silence became the loudest statement she could make. Fans flooded her social media, begging for answers, comfort, or even closure. But she gave them nothing. Every photo she left up from her life with Mendeecees now looked like a haunting reminder of love lost and trust broken. Meanwhile, Angie, the woman at the center of the scandal, started to show subtle signs that the rumors were true. A soft launch here, a cryptic post there, and before long, she was seen wearing what appeared to be a wedding ring. That single image was enough to send the internet into meltdown. Everyone started connecting the dots. Mendeecees hadn't just cheated, he'd moved on completely. In secret, as if his past life never existed, friends close to the couple began speaking anonymously, revealing that Yandi had known something was off for months. Mendeecees had grown distant, his phone constantly flipped face down. His late-night business meetings becoming more frequent. But Yandi, still trying to protect her family, chose to believe his words until she couldn't anymore. When the leaked messages came out showing explicit conversations between Mendeecees and Angie, that was the breaking point. Yandi allegedly confronted him in private, and sources claim the argument was so explosive that it ended with him walking out and never coming back. What no one expected, though, said he'd marry the same woman who destroyed everything. But Mendeecees didn't stop there. He started quietly showing Angie off to a small circle of friends, acting like the chaos online didn't exist. It was as if he'd erased his past with Yandi overnight. Industry insiders say he wanted to keep things low-key to avoid legal drama or public backlash. But the truth was already out. Fans turned on him, calling him heartless, ungrateful, and the definition of a red flag. Still, Mendeecees seemed unfazed, almost proud of his new relationship. He even posted a cryptic quote about peace after pain, which many took as a direct shot at Yandi. Yandi, on the other hand, chose dignity over drama. Instead of clapping back online, she poured her energy into her businesses and her children. Those who know her say she's been heartbroken but resilient, the kind of pain that teaches you who you really are. But behind closed doors, insiders claim she's been struggling to accept how fast everything changed. For years, she stood by Mendeecees through court dates, prison visits, and public judgment, and now he's building a new life with someone who wasn't even in the picture until recently. The betrayal cut deep, not just for her, but for everyone who believed in their story. Then came the final blow. Footage leaked from a private event showing Mendeecees and Angie celebrating what looked like a small wedding ceremony. There were candles, laughter, and an intimate crowd of friends, proof that this wasn't just gossip anymore. The clip spread like wildfire, and Yandi couldn't hide from it even if she tried. That video confirmed what fans feared most. Mendeecees had really married someone else. Overnight, social media turned into a battlefield. Some defended him, saying he had the right to move on, while others dragged him for publicly humiliating the woman who built him up when he had nothing. Now, Mendeecees' image is in freefall. Brands that once partnered with him are backing off quietly. And fans are questioning whether the love they saw on TV was ever real. Yandi hasn't addressed the marriage directly, but sources close to her say she's focusing on healing, not revenge. She's done being the one who fixes things that other people break. And as for Mendeecees and Angie, their so-called fresh start already looks shaky. Reports say tension is brewing behind the scenes, with Angie feeling overwhelmed by the hate and Mendeecees realizing that peace built on lies never lasts. In the end, what once looked like a fairy tale turned into a cautionary tale, one about loyalty, pride, and how quickly love can turn into betrayal when fame and temptation mix. Because while Mendeecees might think he found something new, the truth is he lost something irreplaceable, and the world will never look at him or his love story the same way again. The story of Mendeecees, Yandi and Angie has left everyone speechless. A tale that once symbolized love, loyalty, and resilience has now turned into a painful public betrayal. Fans who watch their journey from struggle to success feel like they've been deceived too. Witnessing Mendeecees turn his back on the very woman who held him down through the darkest years of his life.